Bruce Lee, November 27, 1940 – July 20, 1973. Nicknamed the Little Dragon, is a Chinese-American martial arts actor, master of martial arts, and considered the most famous in the field of martial arts. He entered the world of art in many films in the 50s, including the movie Chuling Boy, when he was still a child, then entered many martial arts competitions in Kung Fu, until he impressed many film producers, as he appeared in the series, The Green Hornet, in the 60s. As well as the series, Look at the Brides, The Long Street, and other series, and he appeared in the movie, Marlowe, with a small role, until he had the biggest opportunity when he presented the movie Big Boss in the early 70s, and one of his most wonderful films, which is The Grip of Anger, that talks about the conflict between the Chinese and Japanese and the extent of the Japanese oppression of the Chinese. Then he presented the movie The Dragon's Way, which he directed himself and in which the American actor Jack Norris participated, and the movie Entering the Dragon. During his participation in this movie, he faced intense hatred from Hollywood because the first hero of this Hollywood movie was Chinese, so Bruce Lee traveled to Hong Kong until she summoned him Hollywood again to complete the movie, and this was the last movie he was able to finish before his death. After that, he started shooting his new movie, The Game of Death, in which he died while filming. And he shot only a few scenes, so he stopped shooting for several years, after which the filming of the film was completed with an actor similar to him, and the task of directing the film was assigned to director Robert Kloss, director of his movie The Dragon's Entry, instead of its original director, Bruce Lee himself. Despite that, Bruce was able to form the legend of martial art and influenced all young people from all over the world with him, and he has statues erected in Hong Kong, Bosnia and Herzegovina and other countries of the world. And Chinese actors were influenced by his methods and thoughts and spirit. Moreover, the inevitability of the reality of Bruce Lee's popularity in the Chinese street required the producers and these actors to imitate him. Rocky Marciano, by name of Rocco Francis Marchiano, also called the Brockton Blockbuster, born September 1, 1923, Brockton, Massachusetts, U.S. died August 31, 1969, near Newton, Iowa, world heavyweight boxing champion from September 23, 1952, when he knocked out champion Jersey Joe Walcott in 13 rounds in Philadelphia, to April 27, 1956, when he retired from the ring. Marciano was undefeated in 49 professional fights, scoring 43 knockouts. Among his victims were two former heavyweight champions other than Walcott, Joe Louis and Ezzard Charles. First interested in a professional baseball career, Marciano began to box while in the U.S. Army during World War II. He had his first professional fight on March 17, 1947. Knockouts of Rex Lane, Lewis, Lee Savold, and Harry Kid Matthews earned him a chance to win the championship. Marciano, knocked down by Walcott in the first round, was behind on points when, in the 13th round, he knocked the champion unconscious with a single punch. At age 32, Marciano retired after defending the championship 6 times. An unscientific but hard-punching and exceptionally durable fighter, he completely dominated the heavyweight division. He was killed in an airplane crash. Muhammad Ali is an American boxer. Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. was born on January 17, 1942 in Louisville, Kentucky, and died on June 3, 2016 at the age of 74 after a long struggle with Parkinson's disease. He was born to a middle-class black American family and his father was a Methodist, but his mother he raised him and his brother on the Baptist sect, after he converted to Islam in 1964 and changed his name to Muhammad Ali without his last name, Clay. Clay won the World Heavyweight Championship 3 times over 20 years in 1964, 1974, and 1978, and in 1999 he was crowned the Athlete of the Century, an award presented by the magazine Sports Illustrated. He also won the same title after a referendum held by the Italian newspaper La Gazzetta dello Sport, after obtaining 71.2% of the votes, surpassing many athletes, including Diego Maradona. He described himself as flying like a butterfly and stinging like a bee, the fastest and most powerful punch in the world with a force equivalent to about 1,000 pounds. He retired from boxing in 1981 at the age of 39, after a career that included 56 wins, 37 by knockout and 5 defeats, and he was crowned the world title 3 different times. On May 26, 2000, a law was enacted in his name by Congress known as the Ali Law in order to protect the rights of boxers. Michael Gerard Tyson, born June 30, 1966, is an American former professional boxer who competed from 1985 to 2005. Nicknamed Iron Mike and Kid Dynamite in his early career, and later known as the baddest man on the planet, Tyson is considered to be one of the greatest heavyweight boxers of all time. He reigned as the undisputed world heavyweight champion from 1987 to 1990. Tyson won his first 19 professional fights by knockout, 12 of them in the first round. Claiming his first belt at 20 years, 4 months, and 22 days old, Tyson holds the record as the youngest boxer ever to win a heavyweight title. He was the first heavyweight boxer to simultaneously hold the WBA, WBC, and IBF titles, as well as the only heavyweight to unify them in succession. The following year, Tyson became the lineal champion when he knocked out Michael Spinks in 91 seconds of the first round. In 1990, Tyson was knocked out by underdog Buster Douglas in one of the biggest upsets in history. In 1992, Tyson was convicted of rape and sentenced to 6 years in prison, although he was released on parole after 3 years. After his release in 1995, he engaged in a series of comeback fights, regaining the WBA and WBC titles in 1996 to join Floyd Patterson, Muhammad Ali, Tim Witherspoon, Evander Holyfield, and George Foreman as the only men in boxing history to have regained a heavyweight championship after losing it. After being stripped of the WBC title in the same year, Tyson lost the WBA title to Evander Holyfield by an 11th round stoppage. Their 1997 rematch ended when Tyson was disqualified for biting Holyfield's ears, one bite notoriously being strong enough to remove a portion of his right ear. In 2002, Tyson fought for the world heavyweight title, losing by knockout to Lennox Lewis. Tyson was known for his ferocious and intimidating boxing style as well as his controversial behavior inside and outside the ring. With a knockout-to-win percentage of 88%, he was ranked 16th on the Ring magazine's list of 100 greatest punchers of all time, and first on ESPN's list of the hardest hitters in heavyweight history. Sky Sports described him as perhaps the most ferocious fighter to step into a professional ring. He has been inducted into the International Boxing Hall of Fame and the World Boxing Hall of Fame. Fedor Emilianenko is a retired Russian politician, mixed martial arts professional, heavyweight champion, and judoka. He has won championships and honors in many sports, most notably in the MMA and FIAS World Championships, and the National Judo Federation Championship. Emelianenko began his career on May 21, 2000, with 4 consecutive victories, including defeating ADCC champion Ricardo Arona, considered one of the toughest fights of his career. Then came his controversial loss to Tsuyoshi Kosaka on December 22, 2000. Emelianenko remained until June 26, 2010 without losing a match. Hope you enjoyed my video. Like and subscribe.